Hi there, Georgette here. Welcome back to my channel, G.A. Rodgers, and thank you for joining me. So today I thought I would come in with a Q1 wrap-up. It's my first quarter sewing summary, if you will. Everything that I made in the first quarter of this year and some of the lessons that I've learned along the way. So I'm going to take this month by month. I have a lot of notes and I have it all written down in front of me. So if you see me looking down, it's just because I'm looking at some notes. All right, let's get into it. Let's start with January. January was a pretty good month for me sewing wise. I actually produced 4 pieces and they were all made out of the same fabric, which actually helped tremendously with the amount of items I was able to produce because I didn't have to change the thread in my sewing machine. So first up is the Hickory Ensemble. It's a free pattern by Mood Patterns, and I whipped this complete ensemble up to participate in the Sew Your View challenge on Instagram, and I completed the entire garment, well, the entire outfit on time, but I didn't take a picture of myself and post it. So let's get into some of the notes about this particular ensemble. The fabric I used was a waffle knit from Walmart. Not sure of the exact content of the fabric. It did say that it was 100% polyester, but it's Walmart, so I just don't know if that's correct or not, and I'm not going to do a burn test. Let's talk about the pattern. The pattern itself was 61 pages that needed to be cut and taped together. And to add insult to injury, it's not a layered PDF pattern. So not only is it 61 pages that you have to print, you're also printing every single size on all of those 61 pages. I have never printed a PDF pattern that was this big before, and I probably will never ever do it again. Like, it took me over an hour to print everything and to tape it together, and then I just left it. I didn't even cut it out on the same day. I went back and cut it on a whole separate day because I was just done with the whole process. So after I printed it and got everything done, I cut out a size 8, which is a 35.5-inch bust, a 26.5-inch waist, and a 36.5-inch hip. So I did make some pattern adjustments to this pattern. I removed the 1.5-inch allowance for the pant elastic, and I added a 2-inch cuff because I didn't want elastic around the ankle. I also added 1 inch to the front crotch depth. I could tell just by looking at the pattern that the crotch curve wasn't long enough by the time you got to the very end. It just wasn't long enough. So after I did some measuring, I added 1 inch to the crotch depth, and I could have added a little bit more after having tried it on. I actually could have added probably 1.5 inches instead of just the 1, but for lounge pants, they're perfectly fine. And I think the final note that I had about this pattern was the sleeves didn't match the armhole. So I don't know if it was something that I cut wrong, or I don't know what happened, but my sleeves didn't match the armhole. And I think I even went back and matched up the sleeves, walked my sleeves along the armhole of the shirt, and it just didn't match to me. So that could have been a printing issue, but that is something to be aware of when you go to make this garment, if you are going to make it. All right, let's talk about the sewing. All right, the sewing was pretty straightforward. I made this in January, so I can't remember exactly what I did differently, but I know I did a couple of things differently from what they instructed you to do, and it was just a matter of preference on how I wanted to sew up my garment. And yeah, I think that's it for the pattern and the sewing instructions. My final thoughts on this outfit: would I make it again? No. I think I had a bad taste in my mouth after the 61 pages, and then after that, it kind of went downhill from there. It's not my style. It's very big and baggy. It's very, very 80s. Even for loungewear, it just seemed a little bit dated to me, but it is comfortable. I will say that. It's very comfortable, and the fabric I made it out of, it's very warm, so I will wear it. It is an easy pattern, and it is an easy make, and it comes together very, very quickly. So if this is your style, I suggest you go for it, especially because it's a free pattern, but just bear in mind, it is 61 pages that you have to print off, tape together, and cut out. All right? Okay. All right, next up in January, I made the 40K Suede Top by George and Ginger Patterns. This was another item that I made to participate in an Instagram challenge. It was the #SewTogether21 challenge. Same thing as the last garment I made. I finished the shirt on time, but I never took a picture of myself in it. So that was that. I'm actually wearing that one right now, so you can see this cute little neckline. Okay, so let's get into it. This pattern was, like I said, it was a free pattern. I don't know if it's free currently, but it was free at the time that I printed it out. I cut out a size 8, which is a size medium, and I do believe it's a layered pattern, so I was able to just print out that size 8, and you know what? It wasn't 61 pages, which I was grateful for after having printed the previous one. Let's see what else. And the seam allowance is a 1/4 inch seam allowance, so I did have to make an adjustment for that on my serger because I whipped up all of these items on my serger. Now I will say that the instructions got a little confusing for me after number 3. I couldn't follow them anymore, and that's when they started to add this little, I'm gonna call it a yoke, when they started to attach this yoke piece to the whole shirt. I couldn't follow it, so I really just kind of made it up as I went along, because when I tried to follow their instructions, this little, you can't really see it because it's black, but this little yoke piece is supposed to be on the inside, and when I sewed it, it was on the outside. So I just went back and I unpicked it, and again, I just made it up as I went along, and I kind of like how it turned out. It came out pretty well. The fit, I really like the fit. I think it fits very nicely. It's not too tight. I thought maybe it was going to be a little bit tight at first, but it's actually not. And I do like these extended cuffs. I think that's a fun detail. But would I make it again? I don't know if I would make it again, because that's a little busy for me. I mean, I love this fit. I think if I made it again, I would change the neckline. Honestly, I'd change the neckline, but the fit is so nice. I might try it. I don't know. I'll just have to wait and see. We'll just have to, if I have a slow month, if I have a slow month in sewing, then yeah, I'll just whip up another one. But if you like this style, it's kind of like a modified Henley style of t-shirt, because there's supposed to be buttons here. I didn't put any buttons on. It's a faux, actually no. You have the option of making it a faux button placket, or you have the option of making it a working button placket. I didn't put any buttons on here. I thought it looked fine without the buttons, but it is a modified version of a Henley shirt, and so I like this design feature. I appreciate the design feature. I just don't know if it's something I want in a t-shirt, because when I'm making a t-shirt, really that's like a palette cleanser for me, and I want it to be easy, breezy, and done. But if you are digging this design feature, I will say it wasn't hard to put together. It didn't take me a long time. That instruction bit after number 3, if you read the instructions before you attempt to put your shirt together, you should be fine. I was reading the instructions as I was going along, and that's why it kind of confused me. But if you read it before you put your shirt together, then you should be fine, because then you can make the adjustments that you need to work this whole situation out. All right, but that's enough on that. That is the George and Ginger 40K Suede Top. Now, the final item that I made in January was a raglan sleeve t-shirt. It was Butterick 4079, and this one is probably the one that I am most proud of, because it's an item from my Make 9 list, and I finally got one finished. So 1 down and 8 more to go. All right, let's talk about the pattern. Oh, this is a vintage pattern, and it didn't have any instructions, so I had to make it up again. I had to make it up as I went along. I also had to create a neckband and cuff pieces, because my pattern didn't include this either. And because this is a big 4 pattern, these seam allowances were 5/8 of an inch. Now, as for the fit, I did find that the armholes were a little bit too low. So if I make this again, I'm gonna try to work out that fit issue in the raglan sleeve. I don't know if I need to raise the shirt up and reduce the sleeve, or add more to the sleeve and reduce the shirt. I'll have to look up how to do that. But it was really easy to make. I think it took me under an hour to fully complete once I had everything, you know, cut out and ready to go. So I think I may try this again, because I do believe that it might be a really good scrap buster, because I can make the sleeves one color and the shirt a different color. And it's one of those items that I wear a lot. I wear a lot of long sleeve t-shirts around the house and whatnot. So I may give this another whirl. All right, so that wraps up my January makes. Now on to February. So in the beginning of February, I planned to make 3 items. I got one of them completely cut out, and then I ended up taking an unplanned trip for a couple of weeks, and that was pretty much the end of that. I mean, I got to work a little bit on them, but none of them were actually completed within that month. And that was it for my February. I didn't get anything fully completed within that month. All right, so let's talk about March. So in March, I was able to cut out a handful of projects. Now, I didn't sew any of them, but they are cut out. I actually started to reorganize and clean my sewing room in March, so I am recording that as I go. It is taking quite a long time, because I'm not just tidying up, I'm also reorganizing as I go. And it seems to be, it's quite the project, but I am making progress. I have one corner done, but that's about it. So I've kind of just accepted that this is one of those projects that's just, it's gonna take a while, and I want it done correctly so I don't have to do it anytime soon. So it'll just be my little work in progress. Okay, so that wraps up all of the sewing that I got done in Q1. Now let's talk about some sewing challenges. So first up is the Make 9 challenge, and so far I have completed that long sleeve raglan tee. It was B4079, and I've also completed some scrap busting projects. So the first is this little baby beanie. I don't know if you guys can see this, but it's a little beanie. It's made from 100% cotton jersey, and it's a free pattern by Patterns for Pirates. And there are 2 versions of this, and I made the one with these little, I don't know if you guys can see that, but I made the one with these little ears. And I actually like making the one with the little ears, because that is a really good scrap buster. These little ears, that's a really good scrap buster. Okay, so that was the first scrap busting project that I completed within Q1, and that'll just go in a donation bin somewhere. Hopefully somebody out there will love this. Oh, it's a size, I didn't tell you what size it was. This is actually size 6 months. So this is for a 6-month-old. All right, the second item that I completed with scraps, this is a tank top. Isn't that cute? It's so cute. This is a tank top for a size 5 girl. This was a long sleeve t-shirt pattern that I made into a sleeveless tank top, and then I just added kind of this little ruffle. Well, it's not really ruffled, but it's a little band around the hem, just to kind of finish it off and give it a little bit more of a girly flair. All right, so that was a second scrap busting item that I completed within the month, well, within the quarter. And then the third item were these masks. Oops, you can't see them. These kids masks were the third item that I made, and those will be donated as well. All right, so that was it for my Make 9 challenge so far. The next challenge I was participating in, or I am participating in, is the hashtag resolutions challenge, and number 1 on that list was to organize my sewing room. Again, I am currently in the process of accomplishing this goal. Right now I'm just waiting on some more organizational items to be delivered so that I can continue and hopefully finish this project by the end of the year. Okay, number 2 on my resolutions list was to post more on IG. Well, I'm still slacking in that area. Social media is just, it's not one of those things that comes naturally to me. I mean, with the exception of Pinterest and YouTube, it feels like work. It just feels like work to have to stop and get the picture and write a caption. And so, yeah, I don't think I get as much enjoyment out of it as most people. It just, for some reason, it seems like work to me. So I am slacking on that, but you know, maybe I'll get it together. It's on my resolutions list. I'm going to make a solid attempt to post more on Instagram. All right, moving on. Number 3 on my resolutions list was to scrap bust. And I do have some scrap busting works in progress, like this mug rug, which is just scraps that I am sewing together, and I'll either fold it in half or cut it. I haven't even decided yet, but this is a work in progress for my scraps. It is a mug rug. I also have some quilt blocks. Now, I'm not a quilter. I am not a quilter. I'm just making this up as I go along, just so I can use up some scraps, for no other reason other than that. So I have been making these little quilt blocks, and eventually they'll turn into like a mini quilt. But for right now, this is what I have. And there's really no rhyme or reason to how I'm putting these blocks together. It's just a way for me to use up my scraps. It really is. It's just a way for me to use up my scraps. So that's that. I have also been working on some smaller items, like some coffee mug cozies and coasters. So I actually have a binder that is filled with scrap busting patterns. And what I do is I will just match up the pattern piece to whatever scrap I'm cutting at the time, and I'll cut it out and I'll file it back in this sleeve, and then I just go from there. It's been really, really helpful to have everything in this little binder instead of just all over the place or in separate drawers. And it's been really helpful to keep me accountable for how many scrap busting projects I'm actually completing versus how many I'm just cutting out and filing away. Okay, so number 4 on my resolutions list was to participate in more sewing challenges. Now, I've come to the realization that I really shouldn't try to participate in these monthly challenges unless they align with something that I'm already making, because it just throws me off. And I'm talking about those challenges that you find out what you have to make on the 1st of the month, and then you got to post it by the end of the month. For some reason, those just, they throw my plans completely off schedule. I'm someone who likes to plan their makes by season. So I already know what I want to make in the fall season. I know what I want to make in the summer season. So me trying to shove another project into my schedule it just throws me completely off. So unless it's a challenge that I have had planned at the beginning of the year, like there are a couple challenges that I knew I wanted to participate in, and so I put those challenges within my schedule of sewing. Unless it's one of those, I don't think I'm going to participate, or unless it aligns with something that I'm already making, I just don't think I'm going to participate in these monthly challenges because it's just not working out. So I'm just going to let that go. All right, and that's it. That's it for my Q1 wrap up. Some things got made, some things didn't, but you know, that's just how life is sometimes. All right, so what's coming up for Q2? That would be April, May, and June. I do have some sew-alongs planned. Some people have requested a couple of sew-alongs, so I do have some of those plans. I have a sewing challenge that I'd like to participate in. I'm not going to say what it is until I have posted my item, but I do have at least one sewing challenge that I'd like to participate in. I'd also love to show you guys some of the scrap busting projects that I'm using to help me organize my sewing space or to help me organize my sewing. So hopefully I can get some of those posted as well. However, I do have a few life things planned for Q2. I mean, it's going to be the warmer months, so I really want to try to get outside and do some things. So we'll just have to wait and see how much I get done during that time. But I will do another quarterly check-in, hopefully closer to the end of June. This one's coming in a little bit late, but hopefully closer to the end of June, beginning of July, I'll do another quarterly wrap-up. All right, so before I go, I know this has been a long video, but before I go, I wanted to share with you just a very, very mini haul that I picked up from Hobby Lobby. It's no secret that Hobby Lobby had a 99-cent sale on Simplicity and Quick Sew patterns, and I ended up picking up just 3 patterns from that sale. So the first one up is Simplicity 8229. It is a bra pattern. I've been threatening for a little while now to make a bra, and I haven't pulled the trigger, so I'm hoping that by purchasing this, I will go ahead and make a bra. However, I did have a question for you guys. This thing says it takes 1 7/8 yards of fabric to make this bra. Like, is that right? I mean, that seems like a lot for a bra. Almost 2 yards, that's enough to make a dress. Like, does it really take this amount of fabric, 1 7/8, to make a bra? So if any of you guys have made this before, can you leave me a comment in the comment section and let me know if that's really how much fabric it takes? Because if it does, I might just keep buying bras. Like, that's kind of crazy. Anyway, moving on. Next up is Quick Sew 4138. I just thought this was so cute. And I actually chose this for view A, the dress pattern, because I found a really cute dress on Pinterest. And this is a very, very close match to that dress. So I think I might do a little pattern hacking to try to do a recreate the look type of project. I also really like these right here, these little overalls situations. That's so stinking cute. And the way they have it styled, I just love that. So that's that one. Quick Sew 4138. And then the final one is Simplicity 8801. This is an older pattern, I believe. And you can see this is just for some pajamas. I thought it was cute. So I think I'm just gonna make some pajamas. All right, so those were all of the patterns that I picked up. I also picked up some ribbing, and I went a little nuts on the ribbing. I'm only going to show you like 3, so hang on. So in Hobby Lobby, these were on sale for $1.74 each, and they are 1 yard each. So I got some in black, and I got some in like a creamish color. No, that's not really cream, it's like a tan. And I bought some in gray, and let's do a full disclosure here, guys. Those weren't the only colors I got. They're not. Hang on. Yeah, so here are the rest of them that I got. I got one in a white. This is a different kind of white. You can see the rib on this one is more narrow than the rib on this one. I showed you one gray already. I have more. I have more. So this one is a darker gray. You can see this is the first one I showed you. It's like a lighter gray. And then I also got a medium gray. Yeah, I went there. These look similar. They're actually different colors. They were $1.74. I went a little overboard. And finally, I got this one. It's a gray, but it's got the ribs in it. It's not flat. It's not a flat gray like this one. See, that's more of a flat gray. That's got ribbing in it. So I went a little overboard with the ribbing. I don't know, the sale just got me. I don't usually buy ribbing. I'll just use the fabric that I already have to complete my garments. But nonetheless, I'm still happy to have it. And I will be sharing some of these with my mom. That's how I'm making myself feel better, by saying I'm going to share these with my mother. All right, so that's it. That's it, guys. That is the whole shebang. That is the finale of my Q1 wrap-up. I hope you enjoyed it. If you made it this far, thank you for hanging out with me for this long. I very much appreciate it. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more from my channel, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you all next time. Bye!